Yo Joes, taking a look at the bad guys today. It's a look through my Cobra collection of vintage G.I. Joe Real American Hero O-ring figures. So I'll be looking at the Cobras, as well as the Iron Grenadiers, which I have on a separate shelf, and the Dreadnoks. The Joe shelf looks a lot different than it did before. It's actually split up between two shelves, so I'll have to go through that some day as well. But let's kick it off with the Cobras in order of release year. And there were 3 Cobras released in the initial year of 1982, starting with the Cobra. Well, he was just called the Cobra the Enemy, but most people call him a Cobra Trooper. This is the original gun, which is a little bent there. And they also released a Cobra Officer, which came with a different gun, AK-47, I believe. Very similar to the AH-92. I'm sure gun guys are going, what? Big difference between him and the soldier was the chest rig right here. And then he was offered as a mail-away in 82, and then released in retail the following year. It was the original Cobra Commander, came with a gun, with a little plug that plugged into the backpack. So he's an 82/83 figure. And then I got another Trooper, duplicate Trooper. On to 83, we saw Destro released with his chrome helmet. That's a battle pack gun, extra pack gun. And the backpack, which opened up to reveal Mars weapons. And also in 83, another mercenary, Major Blood, with his, I believe, original gun and backpack. Really weird arm on this one. No articulation in the elbow, no swivel. I always thought this guy was a step back from the original O-rings. Not sure why his arm wasn't posable. And then the His Tank driver in bright red. And then in 84, another Cobra Commander mail-away, this time darker color scheme and a hood. Hooded Cobra Commander. Came with the same gun that plugs into the backpack. This is my original. This is one of the first, maybe the first toy I ever mailed away for. Also in 84, Baroness got a figure. It's interesting that she actually has one of the biggest Cobra rifles of all. The little lady can handle herself on the battlefield. Tiny backpack. And different style head than the others. Similar to the hood. It's like it's a separate piece stuck onto the head. And before weapons were taking up half the packaging art, there was this guy, Scrap Iron, who came with this humongous missile launcher, dual missile launcher. So for an era of toys, we're still in 84 at this point, that are just coming with like a rifle and a backpack, or in the Troopers' cases, just one rifle. Scrap Iron coming with a missile launcher, plus the control, plus I believe he came with a pistol. He's got a pistol there. Yep, that is Scrap Iron's pistol that he came with. He was a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak. Wild Weasel, the Rattler pilot. I don't have room for all of the drivers and pilots on this shelf, but if the driver or pilot is on my shelf, it's because I've got a 25th anniversary or modern version in the vehicle. But Wild Weasel had these maps on his legs. Really cool looking figure. Another driver was Copperhead, who is kind of a big, beefy guy. And I believe I busted this one in a previous video, and I glued him back together. The Water Moccasin driver or pilot. Storm Shadow, one of the most sought after original G.I. Joe figures. A ninja before he joined G.I. Joe. With a great backpack accessory, 2 swords, nunchucks, a bow, and it opened up. And the final figure of 84 for the Cobras is, well, on my shelf anyway, is Firefly. Loved this gun. It was so cool. And a little phone, which he can't hold, so I just sticky tacked it in there, or is that C4? This backpack with the panel that opens up. How many of these got lost? Zartan also came out in 84, but he's down on the Dreadnok shelf. So moving on to 85, we've got one of the Crimson Guardsmen. Cool looking gun with a knife on it. A backpack. Got another Crimson Guardsman flanking the commanders of the Crimson Guard. Zaymot, Tomax, Zaymot, I don't know which one is which. One of them has a scar, the other one doesn't. Costumes are inverted. I'm still hearing to this day guys who collected G.I. Joes and didn't realize that the costumes are inverted. So one has the knife on the right leg, one has it on the left, on the outside of it. The shoulder pads are on mirror sides. It's a cool little detail with their oversized pistols and this little zip line thing that they came with. I like displaying them like that because it's a mutual accessory they can both hold on to. The Televipers are also 85. Cobra's TV cameramen spreading the propaganda. So and it's interesting that Cobra, in addition to all their weaponry, their vehicles, they also used propaganda, deceit. And we've got a pair of snow serpents. Great figure. Obviously I had one of these when I was a kid to take on Snow Job and the Snowcat, Frostbite, out in the Canadian tundra. Snowshoes on them. Love that figure. And then rounding out the bottom shelf is we've got some eels. It's another one I had as a kid. I don't think this is my original. I think that one's long gone, but it's a great thing about toy collecting. It's just like the one I had. The Cobra Diver. This harpoon gun and oxygen thing that plugs into his mask. And finally, the Lamprey, the driver of the Cobra Hydrofoil. If you're still out there watching, Rob, thank you so much. And a trio of Dreadnoks were released in 85, but I'll do that on the Dreadnok shelf. I'm going to be reaching in behind here to grab figures, so if you're one of the people who got a lot of anxiety watching me carefully reach for figures and seeing figures wobble and stuff like that, turn the video off. This is your warning. I'm going to do it that way because I enjoy doing it. I like it's one of the things I like about futzing with my figures. It's kind of like model work. Yeah, if it stresses you out, just walk on. 86. We got the Cobra Viper with his assault rifle. Comes with a backpack. This is basically the new Cobra Trooper, which I've got. Yeah, it's funny, I don't really plan this, but I've got the original Cobra Trooper right in front of the Cobra Viper. It's interesting how that worked out. And then the Battle Android Trooper, Sergeant Slaughter's favorite punching bag, with a really cool lenticular, sort of almost lenticular chest, and different attachments for his arm. Got a pair of bats back there. Who's this guy? Motor Viper, I believe. Driver of the Cobra Stun. And the man with the evil plan. It's Dr. Mindbender. Oh, he's got some kind of torture device on a cable. Really cool looking cape with a Cobra symbol on it, and no black dye. I believe the classified version is notorious for leaving black dye stain marks, but the original one, I don't believe he's gotten any stain marks from his cape. And I don't have room for him on the shelf, but it's the Cobra Night Raven pilot, the Strato Viper. I've got him sitting in the Night Raven because no modern figure will fit in the vintage Night Raven. It's a really tight squeeze. So I've got this guy up there. And one of the most fragile toys of all time. It is the Cobra Emperor Serpentor, made of the dreaded gold plastic syndrome. So I reviewed this guy a couple years back on the channel. Borrowed one in fantastic condition from my friend Lou. He had the box too. And then after that review, I picked this one up. It's not in quite as nice condition as the one I did a review on. The cape is a little torn, and don't want to mess with him too much. You never know what's going to snap on him, because that gold is just waiting to shatter. And it looks like we've got some kind of a Cobra Trooper in civilian outfit. Don't know what his name is. Something suspicious about him. I don't know if he's actually even a Cobra. Kind of looks like an undercover agent. Maybe works for a secret government organization. And 87, we got the Techno Viper. He came with a lot of stuff. Big thanks to Adam for this one. All sorts of hoses. I think no, there's only 2 hoses, but you can swap them onto whatever tools you want him to use. Really nice color scheme on him too. And the Cobra Wolf came out in 87, so the Ice Viper, who, not sure where his Psi are. They're somewhere, but he has a removable helmet. Kind of looks like a ninja. I mean, especially with the Psi weapons, he's kind of got a ninja vibe going on instead of an Arctic half-track or Arctic vehicle driver. Raptor. And I'm missing his bird of prey. And this one I just found somewhere at a toy show or flea market or something like that. Really cheap. It's one of those cases of something was missing, something pretty major. But the cape is in really beautiful condition. Like, it looks brand new. And the figure itself looks brand new too. Finding out you've got worms is always bad news, unless it's this kind of worms. This is the driver of the Cobra Maggot. And I was shocked to find this in a gift box of G.I. Joe parts. A bunch of Joes that had fallen apart from Caleb some years back. And that box had worms in it. This is a replacement antenna. Seems to work pretty well. I think I've got a little sticky tack in there because it wasn't holding very snugly. But he's got such a Rocketeer vibe to him, very retro look to him. 87 was a great year for the Cobras. Cobra Commander got another suit, an upgraded one, so he didn't have to run away anymore. Battle armor. Cobra Commander. And this one might be my original. I did have one as a kid. And there's Big Boa, who was supposed to be the rival for the Rocky figure they were planning on doing. Great figure with boxing gloves, removable boxing gloves. In theory, removable. I don't want to break a thumb. He also comes with this great little punching dummy bag thing that says Joe on it. And this one's for Sean and all the other Aussies out there. G'day, mate. It's Crocmaster. I had this one as a kid, and I didn't have it for the longest time. This is a recent pickup. It's such a great figure. Comes with a whip. I wonder if it's named Shoe Baby. And his Croc. I don't know if the Croc had a name, but it's a really cool collar on the Croc. Missing his hose. Maybe I'll get a repro someday, maybe I won't. But that's a super cool figure with the crocodile boots and the crocodile vest. Kind of wondered if he should have been a Dreadnok. And there was a 3-pack of Cobra Law figures in 87 as well. Got Nemesis Enforcer. Really undersized compared to what a giant he was in the movie. His little bat wings. They also did a Cobra Law Guard. Royal Guard. And I don't know if these... I think these are meant for Nemesis Enforcer, but I just stuck them on there because I don't have any other accessories for him. And finally, it's Burgess Meredith. One of the weirdest original Real American Hero figures ever made, with his tail. I mean, not just the tail, but the body itself is weird. The one green arm, the eye patch. And closing out 87, a pair of vehicle drivers. First we got the Sea Slug, who came with the awesome Cobra Sea Ray. And a lot of people mispronounce this one. They think it's called the Gyro Viper, but it's actually pronounced Hero Viper. All the Greeks out there know what I'm talking about. It's the Cobra Mamba Pilot. And moving on to 88, got one of my favorites from childhood. It's the Hydro Viper, who almost looks like he could fit in the Eco Warriors line. Kind of looks mutated. It's got the webbed hand, very unique for an O-ring figure. Great looking helmet, the big hoses going into the tank. Even the fins kind of look mutated compared to the original eel. And he also came with a creature. Came with this little Devil Ray. And we got a Toxo Viper here who's missing his original helmet, so I just gave him another helmet I found. I think it's one of the Eco Warriors Cobra helmets. Works on him though. This is the Astro Viper. And again, probably missing some stuff on him, but he's got this little backpack for spacewalks. A space helmet. You can have him infiltrate your Defiant, if you're lucky enough to have one of the incredible crumbling Defiants. And doing a little shuffling as I go here, correcting my order of figures. We've got the Heat Viper, who is a really, really cool figure. Spectacular. He's got so much going on. His weapon is ridiculous, but still somewhat believable. Kind of like Salvo, or who else has a giant weapon? Back Blast. Not quite as ridiculous as the giant missile launching weapons of 93 and 94. Really cool figure. I like the missiles on the boots. seem to be missing a hose that goes there. A lot going on with that one. Really cool. And then another one of my personal favorites is the Alley Viper. And I'm sure it's not a surprise that I love this color scheme. Orange and blue. Flip up visor. Got a riot shield. Great looking backpack with a crossbow, grappling hook on it. Cool looking little submachine gun. Great looking figure. He really pops, really stands out. It's kind of like Blowtorch or Sci-Fi. And then we got Frag Viper. Whoops. And he's got one of these, it's like one of those things you use to hurl balls. But this guy hurls grenades. A lot of hoses in the later years for Cobra. Got a little submachine gun too. And a pair of vehicle drivers to close out 89. We've got the Arrow Viper. Came with the Cobra Condor, a great later Cobra jet. It's always funny when you get these Vipers that have facial hair. I guess every Cobra Arrow Viper has to have a goatee. It's got a gold helmet, but I don't think it's made out of the gold plastic syndrome plastic. It's got a little bend in it. Doesn't feel fragile. There was some good gold plastic. It wasn't all brittle. And then we've got the Track Viper, who I refer to as the Track Suit Viper. Came with the awesome Hiss 2, Hiss Tank 2. And thanks to Adam for that one. And this is where my Cobra collection starts to drop off. Don't have too many of the final years of Cobra, but we've got the Night Creeper, a ninja. Comes with some swords and a big crossbow. That was in 1990. And then there was a vehicle driver for 1990 as well. And that is Decimator, who drove the Cobra Hammerhead, the humongous Cobra aquatic vehicle. Big thanks to Micah for that one. Really cool looking figure. And finally for 1990, it's the Overlord, who didn't get much of a story other than what's on the file card. I don't know if he was in the Deke series, but when I read Buzz Dixon's Kindle Worlds book some years back, which was called The Most Dangerous Man in the World, even though Buzz physically describes the main character in that book as a round fellow, I immediately thought, no, that's Overlord. This is not the most dangerous figure in my collection, though, because as I was pulling him out of his dictator vehicle, this actually broke. He didn't get a broken O-ring, the hook broke. The dangers of doing these videos. That's an easy fix, though. I've got a beater figure somewhere, which I can just pull the hook out of him and fix that guy right up. And on a 1991, we've got Cobra Commander version 4. Old Snakeface is back. And I was really excited to get this one as a kid. This is my original one, purchased at Toys R Us in Kitchener on Fairway Road. This is a custom paint job I've done to his the upper part of his mask to hide his eyes. But the sole reason I bought this figure was I needed to know what Cobra Commander looked like. And so this was glued on, to my surprise, and I pried it off. And there you go. You can all see what Cobra Commander looked like under the mask, chrome dome, and the hood. That figure also came with one of the infamous later year giant oversized weapons. What does that do? Locks into place. Comes with a little glider drone. Stick it on there, push the back. 91 also saw the second version. Again, just a coincidence that he's right behind the original Snow Serpent. Snow Serpent version 2. A little louder. It's got purple and yellow. Doesn't really blend in with the Tundra as well as the original one. It's got this cool snowboard though. And the big oversized missile launchers. And Cobra got a Desert Trooper finally with the Desert Scorpion. Don't have his humongous Scorpion accessory. But the second version of Dusty came out that year, so I guess this guy was released to counter Dusty. This is reminiscent of the 85 Dusty neck guard on the back of Dusty's helmet. And for 1992, a fantastic second version of Destro. Very animated series looking. Didn't give him the chrome helmet this time though, just silver paint. That is a fantastic second version of Destro that they didn't try to reinvent the wheel. It just kind of upgraded the original look. I like it when a second version of a figure isn't completely different from the original. Speaking of which, also for 92 is the Cobra Eel version 2. When we talk about neon G.I. Joe, this is one of them. The blue is fine, but the chartreuse doesn't really blend in with the depths of the sea as well as the original gray eel did. It's got some flippers. He's got this shark backpack that shoots a missile. And the weapons were all neon as well. And last, and possibly least, is Slice, one of the Ninja Force figures, which had ninja action, and you can't replace the O-ring in these things because there's no back screw. So you get really loose floppy figures like this that barely stand upright. And one shelf down is the Cobra affiliates, starting with the biker gang, the Dreadnoks. And Zartan was released in 1984 with his chameleon swamp skier. And the color changing still works on this guy. Comes with a mask, backpack that holds the mask. And then in 85, these three knuckleheads were released. First we got Buzzer with his chainsaw weapon, his other weapon, and his gas can on the back. None of these are my originals. I did have the Dreadnoks and Zartan when I was a kid, but they are their history. They are in that parts bin that I'm going to use to repair the Overlord. That's Torch right there with his flamethrower. And then Ripper with his jackhammer. And then 86 saw the release of the Thunder Machine with this guy driving it, Thrasher. Comes with this really unique weapon right here. Another one in great condition. There's some great dealers in Kitchener, one in particular named Peter Joe, who sells fantastic condition G.I. Joes. If you're buying from Peter Joe at the Kitchener collectibles expos, toy shows at Binghamton's, you can rest assured you're getting one in fantastic condition. And this is Xandar, Zartan's brother, also 1986, voiced by Peter Cullen. And Zartan's sister, Zarana, or Zarana, different pronunciations. And also in 86, that's 4 Dreadnoks they got in 86. Monkey Wrench, who, compared to the other Dreadnoks, kind of had a pretty boring weapon. It's just this kind of spear gun looking thing, and that's all he came with. No backpack or any type of melee weapon. And looking at the back row, no, that's not Duke. This is actually Zartan. So this is the head of my original Zartan that I had from childhood. His O-ring broke. I tried to repair him when I was young, and I didn't realize he was welded shut, so I ruined him trying to open him up to replace the O-ring, but still had the head, so popped him on an extra Duke body I had. It's the wrong legs, Chuckles legs that I custom painted. But one of the modern Zartans came with a Duke mask, so I thought that would be a cool use of my extra Zartan head, and got Duke hanging out back there. 87 saw the skiff, and Zanzibar was the pilot of that thing. I always thought this guy was a cousin of Zartan. I thought I read that somewhere. But a while back I tried to look that up and wasn't able to find anything about that. Maybe it was mentioned in a commercial or in a comic, I'm not sure. That's Zanzibar 87. So after the huge year of 86, it was just one per year. 88 was Road Pig. Now that's an awesome Dreadnok weapon right there, the melee cinder block. And things are always falling off this guy. Yeah, it doesn't really stick on very well. I thought he had a crossbow too. I'm not sure where that... Oh, it's in behind here. There we go. Got them all suited up. That was 88. And then 89 had Nagahide, a truly vile character. He's a poacher. He's up there with the headman, the drug dealer, the poacher. Tons of accessories with this guy. Great rifle, even though it's used for nefarious means. He's got this machete that clips to his arm. He's got a knife that goes into the boot. A bow, arrows on the back. And first Dreadnok to come with a beast companion. And then that was it for a while until 93, and Zartan got a second version. This one's really cool. It's quite a departure from the first version of Zartan. They kept with the face paint. They changed the color of that too. Neon green pants with blue, but it kind of fits with the punker, biker fashion of the Dreadnoks, and I like the mohawk they gave him. That's cool that once the hood is pulled off, he's got a mohawk under there. Not a fan of the bright colored weapons, but not a bad version of Zartan at all. And then got a couple of Leonard guys over here that I thought would fit with the Dreadnoks, but they're not official G.I. Joe figures. I don't know what they're called, but if you're interested in filling out your O-ring Dreadnoks, I thought this guy, even his weapon, it's like a tri-bladed chainsaw. Thought he looked Dreadnok-ish. And another dude who kind of looks like a Dreadnok. Gave him double whips. One I believe is from an Indiana Jones figure. And another one is, might have been a Leonard whip. He's got the Mirage backpack. And the Iron Grenadiers, which debuted in 1988. Got a whole bunch of the modern guys. Built a little army there, but for the O-rings, in 1988, they released Voltar, the general, Field Commander of the Iron Grenadiers. Came with a Vulture. And Annihilator, who is the anti-gravity pod pilot. And this guy, they say, was supposed to be one of the Cobra Law figures, and it kind of makes sense when you look at the body. It's kind of got that techno-organic look to it. But he ended up being the anti-gravity pod pilot. And this is the Demon Driver. Got a demon back there. Ferret was his name. I really like how all of the, at least the 88 Iron Grenadiers figures had black and gold. Destro's color scheme. And speaking of Destro, a fantastic version 2? I guess this was version 2. This came before the one we saw up on the Cobra shelf, which came with this despoiler hover vehicle. This time Destro had a gold chrome dome and a beautiful cape, sword accessory, and some Iron Grenadier foot soldiers. Came with their humongous Uzi, and I don't think that's the right sword for him. That might just be one from the a modern Destro. But he's got a hook on it, and it works. And then over here, we've got the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper. He's not a vintage figure. Roddy Piper in 2007 got a convention-exclusive Iron Grenadiers figure. I thought that was perfect, making Roddy Piper an Iron Grenadier, since Destro's Scottish and Roddy's Scottish. Well, he was half Irish, half Scot, but still, I thought that was perfect. The convention exclusive is ridiculously expensive now, so I just made my own. This is a Build and Brawl Roddy Piper. Even says RP on the boots. 3 3/4 inch wrestling figure. Made him a custom kilt using red ribbon, and the vest and weapons are from Marauder Gunrunners. I decided to go with red and white color scheme because that's Roddy's classic color scheme rather than the black and gold. And I wanted to do him up like Il Duce. I wanted him to be the Grenadiers version of Il Duce from Boondock Saints. So he's got 2 guns on the back, 2 knives on the front, 2 guns on the front. He's got the shotgun, Valiv style. So yeah, the Hot Rod is part of my Grenadiers collection, and much cheaper than getting that convention exclusive. Then in '88 they released the Annihilator, who came with a helicopter pack. Let's just straighten it out. And also in '89 was Wild Boar, the Razorback driver, with a helmet and a hose. Hose that connects from the helmet to the arm for some reason. And then 1990, that was it for the Iron Grenadiers. I wish they had lasted longer than that. Really cool subline, but they called it quits that year. Metalhead. One of the reasons I can't watch the Deke G.I. Joe cartoon. I cannot stand this character on the show. But pretty cool figure though. Really done up with the missiles. And then the Iron Grenadiers Frogman, who for a long time I didn't realize this guy was an Iron Grenadier because there's nothing about him that looks Iron Grenadier. No black and gold. Missing most of his parts. Got his flippers. I'm not sure if those are the right ones for him or if those are from someone else. He's got a removable mask. It's weird that he doesn't have any faction symbols anywhere. No Destro, this thing right here, symbol anywhere. Personally, I think he looks more like a Cobra, but I guess the Grenadiers should have an aquatic guy. And that's my vintage O-ring Cobra collection and Cobra affiliates. Not complete by any means, Missing some figures, and some of the figures I have are missing parts, but it doesn't really matter to me. I think this is more than enough. But I hope you enjoyed going through all these. Hope it brought back some memories of some of the figures you had as a kid. Hit up the comments to let me know what you had back in the day. If you're interested in some bonus content, check out patreon.com/MichaelMercy. Lots of exclusive reviews and live streams up on there. And of course, to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Nerdmas Day.